This is Eric Rutan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
G'day everybody. I've got a conversation featuring the members of Inhuman Condition to share with you. You'll be hearing from Terry Butler, who's also in Obituary, Taylor Nordberg, who's also in Deicide, and Jeramie Kling, who's been in a number of bands, but most notably recently, he was a member of Venom Inc. Now, the chat was conducted aboard 70,000 Tons of Metal 2024. I really enjoyed this one. So here they are, Terry, Taylor, and Jeramie from Inhuman Condition.
Thanks heaps for taking the time to have a chat. I couldn't believe when I saw that you guys were on the boat, to be honest. Sort of like, you know, you've each individually been in three of my favourite bands. And your history is just, I mean, you've pretty much been there since the bloody very beginning.
I've been fortunate, yes.
So there you go. So I saw that, and it was one of those moments, like, as I've been a podcasting now for 6 or 7 years, and just haven't had the opportunity to chat to any of you. You and I have had a quick chat over Messenger or Instagram or something like that. You know how it is, but it's you know, I don't hold my body to that stuff because it can be bloody anybody that you're talking to.
Yeah.
When you do that sort of thing. But thanks a lot for doing this. But thanks a lot for accepting the opportunity on the boat too. Is another thing.
Yeah, we're stoked to be asked. It was kind of a last-minute thing, but since the three of us are from Florida, we're like, of course, let's do it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for the band as well, obviously. So.
Yeah, well, look, I noticed Lee's now on the boat as well, so you guys have got some sort of a reunion going on out in Florida, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
We're
actually going to do a signing with them afterwards, so it's us and Monstrosity are going to do a signing together. So we'll be all hanging about, alligators and oranges are going to be like, crawling out of everywhere.
Being from Australia, I was in Miami and there was an opportunity, when I say opportunity, to see they're pushing these gator tours. Like, why the fuck am I going to want to see bloody alligators? We've got crocodiles and we're trying to get out of the woods in our place.
Well, indigenous people or people that have been living in Florida for a long time, they don't do that stuff.
Yeah, of course not.
It's a tourist.
It's a weird tourist thing, isn't it?
I don't think I've ever stepped foot on an airboat tour.
No.
Yeah.
I've been on an airboat, but I've never taken an airboat tour, which those are so regular. Those are that's like a industry right there.
Yeah.
I suppose if it keeps people employed and they're happy enough to do it and the tourists feel giddy about it, it's a bit like a harbour cruise. No, they've been on a harbour cruise or whatever when you get to Sydney or something like that and you just got to do it.
Yeah, of course.
But look, you're on this boat. Is it an enjoyable experience for you collectively?
For me, so far it's been great.
Absolutely, yeah.
The whole crew, everybody's really nice. Most of them are all friends of ours. We've toured in several different configurations throughout the years with many different people. So I mean, you're kind of it's almost like NAMM, where you can make it 10 feet and you have to stop and talk to someone, and then you make it another 10 feet and then you talk to some other friends, and you're on your way to just go to bed, you might be spending 45 minutes, just to get there.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
A lot of the stagehands and all the crew. And
right.
all that.
I'll bet. Yeah.
I mean, the merch people, between the three of us, we pretty much know every one of them.
You spend weeks collectively on maybe months on a bus with them or something like that.
It's getting to know people pretty well.
It's a family for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what about the idea of the onshore experiences and the like? Did they give you guys the option for? I noticed Sodom and the Halo Effect. I think Tigers of Pantang of all bands have got an onshore experience with the band going. Or was that offered to you guys?
I think it was offered, but it was like I said, we kind of got added last minute.
Yeah.
So we were just well, let's just get on the boat and
Yeah.
worry about that.
So
I think
doing too much. Let's just get on the boat.
Yeah.
And then we leave immediately after. So we get back to land on Friday, and then we go and meet the bus to go to Atlanta. We play Saturday in Atlanta.
Oh wow.
So I mean, we're like off this and running.
Yeah.
So full US tour. Well, US and Canada tour.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because Inhuman Condition, there's a perception, probably rightly so, that it's a legacy band, but you don't act like it. You're out there, you got 4 singles, 2 albums and 2 EPs?
1 EP.
One
I
EP.
guess the covers.
Oh yeah,
We were covering,
so
yeah.
forgive me.
Yeah, but the point is, in and amongst all that, that's all since about 2021.
Yeah.
February, I think, is when we officially launched.
Yeah.
So it might be a legacy banner in some ways, in that you can pick all these songs that you recorded, for example. But it's all brand new stuff.
Well, that's how we
And
approach
touring.
it. We approach it like we are a new band, and we're, a lot of energy.
Yeah.
We want to just, whenever we can play, we play. Dates are open. We'll try and get.
How do you organise it with Obituary? Is it just 18 months in advance? Or?
It's like a puzzle. Whenever there's some open slots, I try and fit it in there, and if it works out, and Taylor's Deicide,
of course,
so and Jeramie's runs sound for a lot of bands too. So there's you just got to fit it in when you can.
We have I have a schedule on my phone of all right, Terry's gone this one, Jeramie's gone here, and then it's wait, we have 3 weeks here. Should we try and put something together?
So then we bother all of our agents. We're like, dude, get us shit.
This is our only time.
Book it.
We've got 2 weeks here. Book it. That sort of thing. Yes, I'm going to rush, or maybe not rush it these days, but
why not? I'd go. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But it's finding the
I go everywhere because there's people who are caught up that have nothing to do with politics, and they're just caught up in the eye of the storm, and it has nothing to do with them. Fuck all. So they're like, they still deserve to be people as well and experience and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'd personally go anywhere.
People confuse the leadership with the people. They have nothing to do with each other usually, haven't they? Especially in authoritarian countries.
Yeah, I mean, ever. Leadership usually never reflects the people.
Yeah.
Not even in the States, and it's pretty good there. So.
Yeah. Same in Australia. It's similar. Vis-a-vis. You guys have all been to Australia, know what it's like. But what about for you, Jeramie? I noticed. When I say notice, of course, you stepped out of Venom Inc. Was that because of the scheduling?
No, that was something unrelated. So it was just kind of I just got to a point where I just needed to move on, and I moved on. So.
Yeah.
That'll be probably about as PC as I'll just keep her
Is that right?
flat and just move on. Yeah, no, I mean, just in the spirit of drama is drama. I'd rather talk about, what's happening and, the future rather than, that stuff.
Oh, I just thought There's Only Black was one of my albums of 2022. So.
Oh, man, I'm very proud of that record. I love that one. I liked everything I did with everything that we got to achieve, and, it was really killer, man. I mean, got to play Hellfest twice with those guys. We did Vakken, a bunch of really, Protestant Open Air, which was a smaller little festival, but, there's, memories and people that we've met along the way, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. What about you, mate? Are you, what's going on with Glenn and the guys? Is there, I know an album I think you've done it already.
Yeah, we recorded the whole album at our studio, and then Josh Wilbur mixed and mastered it.
Oh, cool.
And we had the first single and video come out on Christmas Day. Christmas morning, which was perfectly timed.
Nice.
Of course, it was a super evil video where we're eating Jesus.
Yeah, it was great. Very. They were like, "Really, guys?" I was like, "Yes."
Deicide's still pissing off for 35 years.
People
or
are
whatever
like,
it is,
"Man, when's he gonna just forgive Jesus?"
Dude, I actually tell Glenn all the time. I'm like, Glenn, I still get that. My Once Upon the Cross shirt that I have still garners the same response when I wear it out in public.
That's crazy.
Still, I was like, still all these years later, people still looking at her like,
how could you do that?
Yeah, God.
Newsflash is just a t-shirt, people. Settle down.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, it's like the cradle of sorry. You go.
No, that's all right. So we had the first single come out, and I think the second one will probably be out next month or sometime. Maybe don't quote me, but and then I imagine the record will be out this summer probably sometime.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple one-off shows, like we're playing Decibel Beer and Metal Fest in Philadelphia, where we're playing only songs from the first 3 records. That's like an exclusive old school set.
Ah, sweet. Okay.
And then we're doing the Milwaukee Metal Fest as well. So
you're headlining that, aren't you? From what I saw.
I think we're towards the top somewhere. I think Mr. Bungle is headlining the night we're playing.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
That's pretty awesome.
And I'm a fan. Disco Volando is one of my favourite albums.
Yeah, it's
but
great.
It's like, okay, are they a metal band now? Yes, they are.
Yeah, I think they just do the
newer stuff, right?
re-recorded their demo that was like the thrash.
Yeah, the Scotty and stuff are cool.
Well,
Yeah.
older.
So Trace Bruin's written, but Scotty and executed stuff. Yeah. You've probably read some of the comments on YouTube or what have you there. People are really happy to have you in the band in Deicide.
Seems to. I mean, I've gotten a very welcome response from, the band, of course, was super welcoming, which made it so much easier to step into. But yeah, all the fans have been super stoked, and they're like, "Oh, thank you for trying to like do these songs justice." And I'm like, "Well, I'm a fan too, so you're welcome." And just trying to make me happy if I was in the crowd, you know, watching.
Much obliged, man.
I can't imagine having to play Ralph's stuff, but you do it. So.
Well, yeah, we don't do a whole lot of the Ralph songs, fortunately/unfortunately. But it was like an honor and a privilege to be playing that stuff.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. What about you, mate? Too? Are you the Death tribute? Sorry, Death to All, isn't it? You still got that going?
Left to Die stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. We're doing that. We got a tour in August in Europe, like festivals and some fill-in dates. Yeah.
You were quite prominent in that video too. The one, the Death by Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one about Chuck and went down there. Yeah. Was that a challenge for you to have to sort of revisit some of that stuff? And
a little bit, yeah. You know, for the most part, it's all good memories from back then. You know, obviously it was a great time. Yeah, it was early, so kind of touring in '87 in a tiny little van. But hey, it was awesome.
It's so. Is it when you think back to the mid '80s or what have you? I mean, it goes back that far. Let's face it. But was it even conceivable that you'd be talking to someone like me from across the world in a bloody cabin like this right now about a band?
I had no idea. No thought about that. I mean,
you're just sort of putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, I mean, I remember listening to metal before Metallica or even a band. You know what I'm saying? Way back, and so seeing this whole genre start from like its infancy to where it is at now is like amazing. Yeah, it's a great ride.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
What for you, Jeramie? Are you just planning on? I know you're not a rest on the laurels guy, clearly, given your resume to date. But what do you think the future holds for you with regards to like bands and the like? Are you planning on being in multiple bands at once?
If something comes across the table, I'll entertain anything. So I've been asked to do some recording stuff. I've been asked to fill in on some dates and on tour in Europe, but scheduling with everything else kind of hasn't worked out yet. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think I'll sit idly for too long, but it's a good thing because I can focus everything on what we have right now with Inhuman Condition, and Taylor and I also play in the absence. We have a record coming out March 29th. So March 29th we have a record coming out, so maybe do some shows with the absence, who knows. So that's just like a lot more, but we'll see.
Also very one step in front of the other.
Deicide, Inhuman Condition, Left to Die, and there's got to be a couple of other bands.
Get them all. Then we can schedule it. That we can schedule.
We'll just do a festival tour with all those bands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we were talking about it. I was like, oh man, we can we can round everybody up, and we just
travel by train.
I know. It's have you guys? I haven't asked this question yet of all the bands that I've interviewed, but are the COVID restrictions, are they completely over now? Because I know you guys travel a lot, so you'd know.
In Florida, they were pretty much over like 2 months after we started. So
we're like cowboys, so. Anyways,
we're kind of fortunate.
We'll just turn up and see if we're allowed in, sort of thing.
we made it. The only place that just had it where we went to Bolivia, and they were like one of the last people that were still checking the cards, but that was April.
April last
so
year, so
I think that was the kind of the last of it that I saw. So
they actually made us wear double masks on the airplane. Flying into Bolivia. This was last November or something.
Brutal. Yeah. Hey, if you're having trouble breathing,
well, it's like
this will be worse.
2.5 miles up already. You're making me wear 2 masks. Come on.
I know. This doesn't say much about the filtration system in their bloody planes.
Hey, what's really crazy though is that have you been to Bolivia?
No.
Okay, so when you land in La Paz, I think it's like 13,000 feet up or 14,000 feet up.
It's almost 3 miles up.
So you can't breathe.
Brutal, dude. Like you get off the plane, like I was like, oh, I'm okay. I don't really. It was like, whoa, holy shit. Yeah, I needed oxygen just that night to like help my headache go when I subside.
What
they have it on stage too.
Well, So we got in the first day. This was with Venom. So we got in the first day. We stayed the night there. We flew to Bucaramanga. Is that
another Bolivian?
Yeah. But that's like 6,000 or 7,000 feet up. So we flew the next day to there, played the gig there, then flew back to La Paz. So I was already like pretty much acclimated by the time I got back to La Paz. I had more of like a bit of a tolerance to the altitude.
Yeah.
But I was okay with playing. We did have oxygen on stage, and Mantis and I were like, like giving it back and forth, and we're like super abusing the oxygen tank. But who cares? Right?
Abusing the
They gave us cocoa leaves.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
To chew on for like a little energy burst.
Yeah.
That works.
Listen, they're at like so you go down for like breakfast in the morning at the hotel, and there's like a pile of those leaves sitting there.
Yeah.
Like you can just take them and chew them. You can make tea out of them.
Yeah.
Like you're going on the road and you see guys like that are all gacked out of their mind. It's like they have a huge mouthful of it, and they're like
It's
just
an
chewing
interesting
it.
place.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's so crazy that it's normal now to go to countries like that, but I'm talking about the touring environment, the agents and the like. Because remember, sort of 20, 30 years ago, no bands really went there, or certainly didn't hear about it.
No one even like in the early '90s, going to South America was like a fantasy. You know what I mean? Like people did, but only like big bands and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I want you to settle something once and for all for us, and not that I'm being competitive about this, but which Australian city do you rate the best in terms of a response for Obituary?
Which Australian city?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Dude, the light's on, bro. This is a serious question. Holy shit.
I'm gonna piss someone off. Probably
hardly any Australians watch my shows. So
probably Melbourne. Yeah. I mean, the show we just played there was sick. Yeah. It was great. I mean, they were all great, but that one was really like...
I'm from Brisbane. It can be a tougher crowd there.
It was a good show there, too.
Yeah. We just don't have the population of Melbourne or Sydney, I think.
Melbourne sold out pretty quick early on, so it was like, they were ready.
Yeah. Did it take you a long time to adjust to the Obituary environment?
No, not at all. I mean, I grew up with those dudes, but musically I was in 6 Feet Under for 15 years, and the first couple 6 Feet Under albums written by Alan West, who was in Obituary. He wrote some Obituary songs.
Yeah.
So it was very similar style, kind of, So it was an easy transition. Yeah.
I just spoke to Donald about Alan, actually. I've been trying to get in touch with him, but
I mean, he is like the poster child for Trainwreck. Yes.
Talented guy that just, look at his...
Self-destructive.
Yeah.
It's
horrible.
I went to school with the guy. I've known him since, we were kids, but he's...
Was he like that back then?
No, he was very quiet and reserved and, kind of socially awkward. But it wasn't until, mid-90s, he started kind of falling off the tracks kind of then, But I hope he finds himself, finds his way, and just, not even regarding music, just his life.
Yeah.
Just get back on track, man,
What, did you know Richard Brunel at all?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of parallels there?
Yeah, I guess some. But I didn't know Richard as much as I do Alan, but I did know him. Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a hell of a shame.
He was talented as well.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. Have you had much interaction with the Hoffman brothers at all?
I think I met Brian once. He came actually to one of our other side bands.
Yeah.
Played and,
I used to work with Brian at Dean D-Drum. So I was there. It was like 11 or 12 years ago, and he was always great. I got the fanboy out of it. I mean,
you were head of marketing, weren't you? Is that what you?
No. I was creative control. Quality control supervisor for like the D-Drum for all like their shipping and all that stuff like that. So.
Okay, gotcha. It's a lot of hats you wear, isn't it? Has it always been that way for you?
Well, it's kind of been like it's sort of been like a snake. It's just kind of this way and that way, and then there's a path, and then I started. Try and make a long story short is I started crewing for Hypocrisy and Scar Symmetry. Jonas had recorded my band's second record, The Absence. He recorded Riders of the Plague, and then we became friends. He's like, "Hey, you're coming to drum teching on tour for Horg and for Henrik," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've never drum teched," and he was like, yeah, can you set your drums up? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you got the job. He goes, anyways, we leave here, you can drink all you want, whatever, right? So it started there. Then I got another crew gig with, Overkill, and I crewed with them for like 3 years. And then then I started doing monitors in front of house, and I already had studio experience anyway, so I just kind of applied everything that I do from there to mixing live. And I was also tour manager for Sepultura for a bunch of years because I had Scar Symmetry I tour managed Scar Symmetry, so that led to Sepultura doing front of house for them, and then it just kind of all the while I kept playing,
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Yeah, that was never supposed to happen, so that just kind of happened. So, anyways, here we are. He forced me to sing in the band. He was like, "You should just sing in the band." I'm like, "No, man, we should maybe get like because I played drums on the record. It was like I was just supposed to be the drummer." I was like, "Man, I wrote what I thought was like real cool. Like I want to play this live." And then he's like, "No, you should sing." And I'm like, "No." And like 2 weeks later, he's like,
Dude, just sing.
yeah, he's like, "Dude, you gotta sing." And I'm like, "Oh, what if we got this guy to sing?" He's like, "He'd be great, but you should just sing." And I'm like, all right, fine. So we just went headlong at it, and here we are. So
Are you doing the Mike Browning thing on the boat, or have you?
no, we have a drummer. His name is Colton, and he's gonna be doing this U.S. tour with us. Bright and shining young guy. So he's.
I thought you guys might have been using Lee, actually, to be honest, because before being a Florida local.
We did a couple tours with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
there you
awesome.
go.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
cool.
That was a good time, and just kind of again, to use that snake analogy, just kind of just moved over and just went somewhere else. Like if somebody's busy, this just didn't work out, so it was like
We kind of approach it as like, rather than this guy's filling in, we say, well, this is our guest musician for
Right.
the tour. So if I don't know, if we go to Japan or something, we might have a different guest there, or maybe
Bill
we'll have.
Anders will come out.
Holy shit.
No, that's
There you
he
go.
won't. He won't. We haven't even talked about it. I'm being silly.
Next minute, blabbermouth.
Yeah.
Use it.
And then the fence.
You said he's coming out.
Now, if we play in California, maybe Lars sits in.
Yeah. You never know. It's no, we just kind of kept it open, so it's cool.
That's if you can get away from his art collection these days, or whatever it might be that he bloody gets into.
Hey,
Fast
if
art
you're number
collection.
one, then you can be into whatever you want. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. But Terry, have you spoken to Dicey about bringing you guys down?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that likely this year? Yeah, 2024?
Probably more in 2024. They got a lot of tours they're doing right now, like Carcass, Black Dahlia. They got Orange Goblin coming and stuff. But
Yeah.
he's definitely interested for sure.
Yeah, between his schedule and our schedule, it's pretty booked for
It's
this
full.
year. So
Yeah.
I would
Yes.
imagine, hopefully, maybe
2024
next year.
Yeah.
It's really like looking at like a puzzle, like he said, and there's a bunch of shit filled in, and then there's a bunch of holes, and it's like,
Yeah.
Do you guys feel it too? I mean, I'm 45, okay, so I was of the vintage where like a one band would come through just in that year, like Sepultura would come through in 1994, and that was it. In Sydney or Brisbane or what have you. But do you guys feel? I know the States is a lot busier; it's a bigger market. But do you guys feel like as though there's an element of saturation at the moment at all?
maybe in the States.
Oh, just in general, you know what I mean? Like I'm talking, I must get a week. I'm not even joking. You 500 emails that might have individual releases in them because of all the mailing lists. Yeah,
So some of that's due to the whole COVID thing.
Yeah. I mean, we're still bottlenecked.
Everybody waited
Yeah.
the whole time, and then it was balls to the wall when the gates were open, so to speak.
yeah.
And everybody was recording records during that time, and they all came out in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So
And
instead
they're
of
all touring. So.
instead of everybody like cycling kind of like this, it became this.
Yeah, it's like everyone.
Yeah.
It's like a race.
Oh,
Yeah.
it just got, and we are suffering a little bit in Australia through. I was just Daniel won't mind me talking about this from Blood Red Throne, but he was looking to come down, and I was hitting up a few promoters, and they're just saying, look, we'd love to, but it's just we're too busy.
Yeah.
But then that's Daniel from Blood Red Throne. He was in Satyricon, for God's sakes. It's not a small band, you know what I mean? Is my point, so.
People only have so much money and time, and
Yeah, yeah.
can't go see every band.
Right now, May, like March, April, May in the States is like totally saturated.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's like tour after tour after tour after tour
It's all
happening.
big stuff, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like really, like there's a lot in that. And I was even walking with Steph, and he got another one. I can't say the band name, but he was like, "Oh, they want a tour in May. Need a support for So That's our booking agent.
Do you guys think with Sepulch retiring, or I don't know what they're doing, shelving, whatever it might be, ending, and no doubt within the next decade you're going to, I just can't imagine Metallica and Iron Maiden are going to go on beyond the decade, but do you think that gives you guys then an opportunity to step up? Is that the way you look at it in the bands?
I mean, I'll gladly step into Iron Maiden's shoes.
Is that what you're asking?
It seems like there's just not as many bands that are of that magnitude anymore. I mean, there's still big bands. You still have your Avenged Sevenfold and your Triviums.
No one really lets them get there. So there's a lot of like gatekeeping and like even. I liked Ghost's first record. I liked Ghost's second record. Okay, so after that for me, I just kind of tapered off. Okay, right on. I am ecstatic that band is as big as they are and have the level of reach that they are. I think that's amazing. And I know that 90% of my metal brothers and sisters do not feel that same way. They're like, fuck those guys and pussies, blah, whatever. Sorry, they used to fuck. They're like, instead of going like, look, I remember like hearing Disturbed on the radio and Mike Wingren's playing double bass, and I was like, that's amazing. And I feel like all the metal people are like, that's fucking stupid. That band's stupid. You're like, dude, they're playing like harmonized leads. I'm like, you don't understand that's like. That's going out to the masses, like in.
This is our community.
Yeah. I mean, effectively, they're talking to everybody. Like they're like getting more people for us, and they're like, sound of silence. Everybody's just mad, you know. So I think there's just maybe just a bit too much gatekeeping to. We don't have anybody. We don't even allow heroes to happen. We don't even allow people to become Metallica. It's just like no one lets it happen.
The Metallica thing is so weird. Oh, excuse me for saying this, but I swear to God, half of these guys out there are too gay for James Hetfield. It is so bizarre, the loyalty that band inspired. I gave up on them decades ago. And, you know, when I heard Death, it was like, okay, I'm going from that or Deicide. Well, it was actually Legion, 1992. I remember getting, that one. It was that album. I remember getting that and Immortals Pure Holocaust. I was like, well, I'm leaving it. That's it now. Yeah, that was it, you know, and you do that and then it opens up a whole new world, and that world's basically infinite. There's all these mirrors and stuff in there, and it just keeps on going and going and going. But Metallica have just gotten to a point where they're, maybe, tell me if you agree with this or not. So there's a scale. On one side of Metallica, remove Iron Maiden from the other side, and there's all of the other bands, and it's even. Agree or disagree?
I mean, they're the biggest band, and I'd say they're arguably the most important band in rock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what are they doing for bands what are they doing for the Inhuman Conditions though? That's the question.
Yeah, but I mean, they take lots of like people who, they bring people out, you know, they have people, they still like, they take smaller bands and they'll still bring them out. Nothing like death metal, like nothing.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like, I mean, all of us death metal guys love Metallica, really. I mean, they're a foundation band. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just sort of suggesting that I wish they recognised the influence and impact that they had in extreme metal. And
I just talked to Isaac from this morning. We were having this afternoon from Epica, and he said that because he had a really cool 72 Legion shirt. No, sorry, 72 Seasons. Sorry,
Seasons. Yeah.
Our drummer plays in the 72 Legions. Forgive me, it's very easy to. If you smoke as much weed as I do, you can confuse them very easily. Anyways, he had a cool 72 Season shirt, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. He goes, yeah. He goes, I got this at the show. So Epica played like 3 shows with Metallica. And I mean, granted, it's not Inhuman Condition, it's not Flesh Crawl, it's not something like that. It's not some like brutal anything, but I mean, Epica isn't like necessarily like a... That's fucking awesome. I was like, whoa. I was like, I didn't even know that. Congrats, man. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, they're taking a band who's doing like bigger, smaller circuits, and they like come on out, you know?
Well, they're going to go up a level with what's going on with Nightwish.
I don't know anything. So.
They're not touring for 3 years.
Oh.
Not new releases or touring for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Marco stepped out, and he was one of the creative drivers in that band, and he said he couldn't make money playing in the band. He was very upfront about it all. He's a good fella, Marco.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't look. You guys know this stuff. I don't. I'm just on the periphery asking the questions effectively, but it just seemed odd to me that a bloke who was writing the material would say that, and why would he say it if it's not true? Maybe he lives in a huge palace or something like that, and he's got a lot of outgoings. And
so he's got overhead. Maybe it doesn't mean his overhead.
Yeah, I don't know, but Epic is going to step up. I think if you get a chance to meet Mark, he's a tremendous fella.
Oh, I've toured at the Epica. That's how I was talking with Isaac. We toured 12 years ago, so we're friends, and that's why he was talking with us today. And I was like, he told me that because the Metallica thing. I was like, oh my god, I thought that was amazing. I was like, that's kind of cool. I was like, who the fuck poached that? How did that happen?
Yeah,
like somebody in their camp is picking, smaller, bigger bands. So I mean, there's like moves happening. They do that. I know they do support. So
someone was telling me that's Hetfield, and like Rob was, I don't know, they were Download or some festival, and they watched Nightwish, and then James or whoever was like, yeah, I want them to play on the show. So.
Yeah, Rob's a tremendous fella too. I was speaking, Brutal from Enslaved. You guys probably know. Yeah. He was doing some crewing at one of those festivals over there. He's telling me, Rob, he was driving a forklift, so Rob wouldn't have known him for a bar of soap, but ended up just talking to him anyway, just like a normal bloke. But he's coming to Australia in Infectious Grooves.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jay's playing
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. I know, I was like, wow.
I know when Death to Wall did their tour of the States a while back, he came out to some of the shows, one of the shows in California.
Yeah.
Rob hung out.
Really? Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
So he knows
his shit.
Stuff.
He seemed like as though it'd be really easy if you're in Metallica in his position to have your head up your ass, but it just seems like it's impossible for him to do that.
Yeah, he seems super...
He'd be here having a chat now, and you wouldn't even know he's in the biggest band basically that ever existed outside of the Rolling Stones.
Well, and all those kids, or all those guys all have kids that play metal too, so I'm sure they're like, Dad, check out this band.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Helps.
Caster is James Hetfield's son, his name, and I was sure that must have been like this young fella just going, this grooves, Dad, have a listen to this.
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember playing, my dad was a metalhead, and I was like, hey, I'm like, check out Dillinger Escape Plan. I was like, this shit's wild. It was Under the Running Boards, like their first EP. I was like, I've never heard music like this. And I remember my dad was a very talented musician. He heard it, was like, holy shit, that was like his response, and it was like cranked it. And this is like 9th grade, so it was
Calculating Infinity, was it?
Yeah, that was a full length, but the EP that came before that was Under the Running Boards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And man, it was just fucking killer, man. Calculating Infinity, of course, is a great record. But anyways, my dad was like blown away, started playing it. I remember I played Rammstein. It was on the Lost Highway soundtrack.
Yes.
So I saw that movie. There was 2 songs on there, and I played it for my dad. He became like the biggest Rammstein fan ever then. So this was like 98. Yeah. He was like a huge fan. He bought Sane Sucked, and then Herzelt. Is that the name of the first record?
I think it is, yeah.
He bought both of those, and he had this black Trans Am with a black light in there and like some like spooky face, and he would like ram air, and he would rip Rammstein to like parking lots and shit like that. People are like, what the fuck is this German music, right? But
he's doing burnouts. He's got Bestrafe mischt.
So I'm sure that the Metallica boys get a healthy amount of what's hip, what's happening right now from their kids.
You guys you're clearly down to earth, okay, and you've earned your stripes. But I can't imagine what James deals with on a day-to-day. Apparently, he can't walk. You guys are mentioning that, of course, here in this environment, walking 10 metres before you stop. Apparently, that happens to James when he goes to buy his bread and milk.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd hate to live like that.
Yeah. It'd be awful. I mean, you're at like
You have to
Steven
be
Tyler's stage.
incognito as much as you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just walk around your giant mansion a lot. And
The Ivory Tower.
Order from Amazon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that Rob goes to like gigs all the time. We just watched that Geddy Lee's Our Bass Player Is Even People.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the show?
Our bass player's human too.
Okay, there we go. And he one of the episodes he goes and hangs with Trujillo, and they go and watch his son's band play, and he's like,
He's in the pit.
Yeah, he's in the pit. He's like fucking moshing. You're like, God damn, man, he's got like $1 million fingers over there, and he's like, like just moshing. He's like, I go to shows all the time, and that's really cool. Like, I don't know, if you like shows and you like music, it's just a part of who you are. Like, later on tonight, I'm gonna go watch Patushka, and then I'm gonna watch Blood Red Throne, and then have a little bit of like a hangout, get some food, then we go on stage. But instead of just sitting in my room all day and like doing nothing, going like, oh, there's nothing to do, It's like, oh, let's go watch some shows, man. We're home, we go to shows. He goes to a hell of a lot more than I do, but we go to shows all the time. Like, we just went and watched Zach Sabbath. That was killer. You know, pretty sweet.
Yeah. I hate to wrap things up, believe me. I might have to do it because I think I've got Catatonia on now, but guys, you can tell I'm a fan individually of what you guys have been up to. You know, I've been reading the interviews and stuff that you guys have been doing, and I really hope to see you guys down in Australia. I know you just came down, but I saw you in 2020 when you played upstairs at Woolly Mammoth, or whatever that bloody place is called. You did a cracker of a job back then. But for you guys, man, I really hope to see you guys down there.
Hopefully we get down there soon.
Yeah, bring it. Let's go.
Talk to some folks.
On Deicide, mate, I remember seeing when Jack and Ralph were in the bed, man. Yeah, it's just... The only problem with Deicide is you get some of the dickheads coming out. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but the real, like...
There's some colourful...
That's a good way to put it.
You know, ask Glenn about, they were spitting on him in Brisbane.
Oh, awesome.
And he was saying, I'm striking songs off the set list. George from Cannibal Corpse threatened to fucking punch one of the guys out. It was the same bunch of dickheads. I don't know whether they're still going to the gigs, but they seem to read, you guys must eat goat heads for dinner, you know, all this sort of the idiot types of guys, you know the ones, who don't understand that it's a living and you're musicians and this is the way you express yourselves. You know? I just hope that doesn't happen again. That's my point being in the nice
we actually, the last couple tours, we've had pretty minimal psychos or weirdos. So I'm sure they're out there. But
it gets a little weird in like South Texas. You know, you get some like really, really intense fans there.
Satanic Hispanics.
Them.
Oh, really? The Richard Ramirez type guys.
Although they're just totally into the all the evil shit.
The whole thing is like very serious, and they like
throw Bible pages on the stage.
They only death metal scream when they talk to you to like take a photo. Like, God.
They want to live inside of a Deicide song. You know what I mean? They want to be in that song. That's how they.
That's the only thing I noticed was that some of the freaks do come out. But I mean, it's just. I mean, actually, there's a bunch more weirdos I can tell you for sure that go to the hip hop shows. You know, the venues. A lot of them in Brisbane won't even have them come into the venues. Really? Yeah, because of the violence and the damage. Doesn't happen at metal shows.
I mean, of course not. We're like pretty well respectable.
You might get the goathead people, but they're not going to crack mirrors and all the rest of it. You know.
Yeah. Pleasantly eat entrails.
We cook them first. Yeah, at least. You know.
Yeah, we're civilized. Yeah.
Love that one. Wow. There you go. I love doing this. A chat with the fellas in Inhuman Condition. Very worthy indeed. There are many more chats that I conducted aboard 70,000 Tons of Metal, and you can find them either here on YouTube or Spotify or any of the podcasting apps that you might be listening to the show via. But over at scarsandguitars.com, I've created a special link at the top of the webpage. 70,000 Tons, ironically titled. Very easy. You'll hear chats from members of Angra, Blood Red Throne, My Dying Bride, Nocturnal, Scar Symmetry, Sodom, The Halo Effect, Tigers of Pan-Tang, get it out, and Unleashed, in addition to that one there from the fellas in Inhuman Condition. All right, that's all from me. My name's Andrew Mackay Smith. Until the next one, it's a goodbye for now.